A little more seed. I think this is going to be in temper, but let's just be sure. Just drawing the chocolate across the top. Once it's fully set, I just wanted 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 10 large marshmallows, and 1/4 pound of butter. Very first thing we're going to do, so I like to make the kids' things a little more sturdy. These have all set up, that's good, that's what we like. Kids classes, we actually call them chocolate pizzas, but you can kind of get the idea. We'll put a scoop of chocolate out, spread it around. Once again, it's a little bit nicer, it's a little thinner. Same amount of chocolate goes a little further. If you do this on a sheet pan, you can pick the pan up and drop it, and that'll make it go flat, makes it perfectly smooth. And then it's a matter of decorating with whatever you like. If you like dried fruit, we'll find one. Then you can make a dried fruit, call it a pizza, your own bark. If you want some cherries on it, that's fine, all is good. If you want to do some apricots, a little color is nice. Whatever you want. It's truly and totally up to you. For adults, actually, what I like to do, and I'll do this quick before this sets, it's starting to set. For the bark, it's kind of fun to sprinkle a little bit of coffee. Don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. That's all you really need. If you're a coffee lover, this is just a really delicious bark. Once again, actually just a little jar will be enough to set it into the chocolate. If you have a pan, you can just drop the pan. Another bark that's kind of fun to do. This is real popular around Christmas time and in the fall. We'll do a bark. We'll do another puddle. And we'll do basically with just peppermint. You can also do this doing multi-layer. I know people do this also. We won't do this today, but just to give you the idea. Number one, you can do this sort of as a pizza, and there's no reason doing it around. There's absolutely no reason. I mean, you can do square fill holes. You can actually put the chocolate directly in the mold, but they're harder to get out. It's much easier having the paper cups. Then all your candies are already paper lined. They're easier to distribute and to pass around. What I use then, the easy way to do this, just use a plain old spoon. It's basically take the back of your spoon. It typically takes 2 scoops. And just spread it around the outside. Once again, kids can do this. It's a no-brainer thing. If you put these on the countertop, they'll tend to lay out. That's why I like to use, you buy these molds, you don't actually put the chocolate in the mold. It helps hold the cup shape. And we'll do a couple of these. I'm going to fill up for the sake of this class, I'm going to fill up 1 tray. The recipe makes considerably more. It also depends on how big a cup you use and how full you fill them. And I'm just going to keep on making these. Whoops, brain dead. If you don't want to temper chocolate, I'm going to show you next with a different size of peanut butter cup and also how we can get away from that. Let the ganaches form with less cream added to them. There's less cocoa solids. And most importantly, there's less sugar added also. The darker, stronger chocolates have less sugar. There, we're getting a nice smooth ganache here. Okay. Actually, I'm going to take this one step. This actually is doing, now that I think about something I really expected, didn't think about for this class. I'm going to actually emulsify this just a little bit. This actually has kind of an odd shine to it. This is an emulsion, but it's not a really great emulsion. And it's because I'm using a 72% chocolate. I'll be right back. And what I'm going to do is use a stick blender to emulsify this. Cover with chocolate. What we can do, these are the vermicelli or chocolate bits. Actually, right now it looks like it's a 50-50 mix. And you don't have to do the dots. You can put it right in the vermicelli. That way it doesn't, you're not putting a hole all the way through it. The fondant will not touch the paper because there is no paper. And what's nice is you get kind of a nice little finish on the bottom. It's I'll get the fondant off the stem. It's just another way of doing it. To me, these cherries are obviously cordial cherries. Okay, now let's quickly dip these guys. And then if you wanted to, you could mark these different ways. We're not going to do it today because we only have the one. But if you're making 5 different kinds of truffles, you could sprinkle some shaved chocolate on some, or you could sift some cocoa on it, or get some nuts or some vermicelli. Get a potato peeler and a bar of white chocolate, make some white shavings, sprinkle them on top. I say almonds, coconut, use some citrus zest. Whatever you want, all kinds of, you come up with the ideas of different ways of marking. If you got an almond truffle, I'd grate some almonds or get some slivered almonds, bake them, and put a little piece on. If you got coffee truffle, get a little piece of coffee bean, like we did for bark earlier. Put that on top. That lets people know it's a coffee truffle. On down the line. Okay, so these are all done, except for one. Chocolate's still in temper. So again, if you're tempering, if you're dipping away and your chocolates are not setting, that means your chocolate's not in temper. So stop, something's wrong, check your temper, correct your temper. What you may do, like if your chocolate wasn't in temper and they're still liquid, if after 10 minutes they still look like this, your chocolate's not in temper and you got troubles, go ahead and retemper it. And what you can do is just dip them again. I mean, that's a good way to kind of sneak by. So here we got our cherry cordials, which are obviously, well, it's obvious which ones are cherry cordials, and these are our truffles, left and the right. And we have the right. Here's a left and a right. Correct? Yep. What we'll do is fill this up halfway with chocolate. Put it together. Hopefully not too much chocolate on the outside. And then shake, shake, shake. And this is what it's going to, aside from the chocolate smudging, this is what it will look like. Shake, 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 throw the chocolate into the very corners and crevices, eyeballs, arms, legs, wheels, whatever you've got on whatever your form is. And here's what your chocolate's going to look like if you didn't back it with white It's there, but it's hard to see, and this makes it pop a little bit more. The red and the green comes out more. This we're just going to sit here. This one we're going to actually turn upside down now, because what's happening is the chocolate being still molten, is going to run to the opposite sides. So I'll do a couple more of these, go real quick. Fill up a star. Whoops, it will be, well, it has to be this one because it's the only one we got. Didn't scrape my edges, I should have. Okay, once again, throw it to all the points. The nice thing about clear plastic pieces like this, I'll show you in the next one, is if there's an air bubble, you can see it. And then just kind of distribute it around, set it down. Okay, hopefully you can see these, Kelly. And then just a couple little bow buttons. Okay, there we've got our little Tuxedo Strawberries to throw away. Anyway, put your ring, get a pastry ring to match it. If you're doing big rings, then use a big pastry board. Pastry ring. We're going to actually scoop up our chocolate, throw it in here. It's not critical that it's fully filled, but it helps a little bit. Then basically hang on a little bit. Air bubbles out, upside down, and let the chocolate drain. I'm holding the ring to the cardboard without moving. Okay, that's a pretty good coverage. You don't want it too thick. Okay, take it off. It's kind of swirly at the bottom. I'm going to actually jiggle it, and that kind of flattens it out. So now my bottom is more flat, and I can turn it right side up the whole time, not moving it from the very bottom here. I'm keeping it plastered onto the bottom. Just a little bit more chocolate. And by doing this side-to-side jiggle, you end up usually with a big blob in the middle. And that's why I just kind of swirl it at the end to smooth that out. Why not have a flat bottom? See, once again, we got the big blob in the middle. And we're good to go. Pretty good. Get rid of that center blob. gone flat. Now we invert again. And lastly, we'll do a square. My chocolate is getting really thick. All the way to my corners and drizzle out. Makes a little bit of a mess, but it isn't too bad. Once again, big blob in the middle. That looks like a piece of chocolate or an air bubble. Now it's perfectly smooth on the bottom. Still too much chocolate though. Whoops. Probably shouldn't be flinging chocolate near my these molds will snap together. Get a nice uniform, and then this side's got chocolate, it doesn't. You have to actually shake it down into the ears, shake it to the nose, to the feet, all the way around. You have to uniformly distribute the chocolate all around. This is what our bunny's gonna look like now. So you've made a relatively nice looking guy, little whiskers, he looks pretty good. So we'll set this guy aside. On to our next guy. This guy should end up, if I did it right, end up looking mottled. Once again, fill basically 1/2 the bunny. Oh, also, let me point this out. If you're doing this for small children, rather than the big children, they will run around like Easter, Valentine's Day. Doesn't matter. If you make something for them, you make them a snowman or an angel or a horsey, it doesn't matter. They will run around all day playing with them. And here's your model look. This is exactly how it's going to look. Okay, so that turned out kind of nice. And the point is then add a little bit more chocolate, which will make it a little bit on the thicker side. It'll make it a little more durable. So what we'll do is we'll pour it into here. And we'll pour into here. Actually, even we'll largely fill these up. It's really not critical that they get filled up. Bang, bang, a little bit, get air bubbles out, especially around where the lines are, and it has to, you want the chocolate to move around and touch the very edges. Then the fun, messy part. And it flips over. My bowl's not quite big enough, but here we go. Then you shake it out back into the bowl. I'm gonna try and save this real quick. Okay, once we got the first layer out, clean off the excess.